Hello, Assassins. Gargudon here, and welcome back to episode 6 of Rally the Creed here. Joining me today, we have got Arshak, also known as AC Landmarks, and from our team, Joe, aka UbiCypher. Now that it's been a few months, we are going to be doing a sort of evaluation of AC Mirage, and of course, talk about what is looking to be the next big thing, Assassin's Creed Red.
First, I just wanted to thank you guys. I'm excited for both of these talks. It's been a long time since Mirage, and the new game plus just came out, and permadeath.
The plus mode, I'm actually curious, what is that? Because I've seen it pop up in like Far Cry 5 too, but I'm not too sure what it is. Is it basically just like more difficult?
Yeah, so the new game plus mode is like when you start the new game all over again, but you have all of the stats when you finish the original game. And the permadeath mode that they added is basically when you start the game, and if you die, you start all over again.
Just before you came, we were talking about, I don't know if you played that, in Far Cry 4, there is the Escape from Dugesh mode, which is the same thing, and that is one of the most frustrating things I've ever played.
Yeah, I remember that thing. Whenever Assassin's Creed announced that they were going permadeath, I'm like, yes. For a short game, only in a short game. I don't want this permadeath mode to be in like Red or something like that. Like, I feel like Red is gonna be a big ass game like Odyssey. Hopefully it's not there, but yeah, like it's cool when it's Mirage because Mirage is so short and sweet.
Have any of you tried it yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I told you before the podcast, I've been replaying it over the past few days on permadeath mode, and it's actually kind of cool that they allowed the players to have the option to be in new game plus as well, because it's much easier. Of course, now we can insta kill pretty much everyone and stuff. And if you're rather OP, you're gonna get through it faster, and the unlockables are easy to get. But it's pretty cool, and it allowed me to revisit the story a little bit more as well, to have it more fresh, because last time it was, a little bit far-fetched for me to think about the story. It was I just played it once and that's it. But this new game mode actually it's pretty neat. As Arshak said, it's cool that it's a short game, and it fits it perfectly. It's perfect. It's the perfect addition, though it could have maybe been shipped at the beginning, but hey, let's not it's fine.
With what I said, though, overall, Mirage, now that it has been a few months and the game has kind of, gotten under everyone who's played its skin, what would you say were some of the things that it did right, and some things that maybe could have been done better?
So, I took some notes last time, and now I can compare them with my recent experience of the game. So in pros, I used to say that, it's kind of a back to the roots thing. I think we can all agree on that. That's very cool. There's the traditional AC protocols of initiation and the tenants and stuff. That's pretty cool. You have the assassin fantasy, scaling through walls across the city, air assassinations, the flashy outfits, the things that you would think that no one would carry in such a setting to climb across rooftops, that they have them, which is cool. That's Assassin's Creed. And the parkour has been refined a little bit. It's great, but here I have to say that, it's very risky from Valhalla. They sped it up. It's more agile in many ways, but since it works on the same parkour model of Valhalla, it kind of clunks from time to time. It's very difficult to navigate through small windows. You find yourself just bouncing against the wall when you wanted to reach maybe a pole across the roof. It's fine, but when you're in a chase, the sprint button as well doesn't help that much, because I don't like the integration of the sprint button being the one used for Call of Duty, for example, with the sticks. Originally, Assassin's Creed was with the triggers. You can change it, but when you get used to it, like you did in Valhalla, it's cool. But in Mirage, since they sped up the movement, it doesn't work that well. So you have to change the button layout, which, you know, I shouldn't be complaining about this, but why would I need to change a whole layout when, you know, when it was easy in the previous game? That's just some minor details that for me personally kind of ruined the parkour thing, although it can be pretty neat. They have a lot of buildings. That's cool. In Valhalla, you had three trees and 4 farms. That's it. But that's okay. That's everything I could say wrong about this game. Technically, you know, talking about parkour and stuff. Now, for history, like the storyline, I see what they tried to do, like to tell the story of Basim and his growth in the Order and stuff. But I missed some big cutscenes. They did it at the beginning and they did it at the end. But in the middle, you go from initiate to master and you don't see nothing. Not like a ceremony or the assassins giving you the outfits and stuff, you know? It's very bland. They did it thinking that you assume what happens in between. But that's a shame. You could have seen everything from the start to the the beginning to the end, you know? That's a shame.
Do you mean the montage?
Sorry?
Do you mean the montage that happened?
No, I mean the story at the beginning has a montage and you go to a certain area and that's cool. But in the middle of the game, you rank up as an assassin would do, right? When you perform assassinations. But there's no real impact. There's no real impact. It's just, oh yeah, I rank up. Okay. I rank up. There's no Basim going through this ceremony, like when he cuts his finger, like Ezio when he initiated his, you know, his young assassins in these halls with the others around. You see it once. It's okay. It's fine. Hell, you even see it in the trailer. That's cool. But what happens in between? You just have, in the whole game, you just have one date, and then it's like at some point, somewhere later, few months, you know, it's they try to rush everything and they don't spell it out properly, which can get confusing timeline-wise. Yeah, we know that Basim gets to be this kick-ass old dude training Hytham in Valhalla, whatever, but I want to see that progress. It felt short, honestly.
Kind of like, as I like to call it, too much telling over showing, or?
Yes, it was very sped up, it was very condensed, and sometimes it missed the potential to expand more on Basim's progress through the Brotherhood instead of just having, you know, these heated conversations with Roshan. Something else, you know, more depth into it. Okay, there's only a few hidden ones in Baghdad, blah, 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 but the impact, you know, like, let me see some initiation ceremonies when you rank up, go somewhere, do something, not just pop up on the screen, hey, you're a master now, you know? It's... I mean, we had it in Brotherhood for that matter, not for Ezio, for the NPCs, but why would some random NPCs have it and not Basim in a new engine, you know?
I felt bad about that too.
That's a missed opportunity. And the last thing, the cherry on the cake, is the missed opportunity to not have a direct link with the Levantine Brotherhood and Hassani Sabah. The build-up was so enormous that we only had a goddamn letter somewhere mentioning Roshan going to the Levant with the new seed for a new generation. What the you know? Like, come on. That's it? Really? And now
like 400 years.
And now we go to Red.
400 years.
Yeah, there's 400 years. Yeah, but if you mention it, go to the bottom like you did in Odyssey with Aya growing up, becoming, you know, what she becomes. That cutscene.
Honestly,
you remember?
Honestly, I was just surprised that they did go to the bottom of Alamut, because like that was what I was like looking for in the game. Are they gonna go to the bottom of Alamut? Because in that way they kind of respected the lore of Altair going down to get one of those discs. And honestly, I'm like, Altair, why didn't you get like freaking so many of them, man. There were so many of them over there. Thing, but he only got like 5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
9, I think.
and
No, or 5. I don't remember now.
probably I think go play Revelations.
Okay, I'll go.
I think,
Wait up.
but yeah, I get your point though. On the lore part, that they didn't have like an initiation from apprentice to master.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for Basim, it felt so sudden, and I know exactly when this happens. It's right before. I mean, the game has been out, so I'm just gonna say spoiler alert. It's right when you go to Kabiha.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, you're a master now. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the?
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the initiation? Where's
Yes.
the? Yeah,
And you
nothing
don't
is
even
true. Everything is permitted.
exactly. You don't even you don't even get to see the new outfit unless you go into your inventory tab and equip it. Like you don't
Yeah,
have someone
I had
coming
I, I
and
had a
saying,
grievance
"Here's
about
your
that.
master tenure," you know, here's your master outfit. No, just go to inventory, put it on, shut up, goodbye. Yeah.
Good job! Yeah, you got it! Yay! I think. Oh my god! And it was a costume. It was not an outfit. I'm
Yeah,
like, bro.
exactly. It's a costume. It's not even an outfit with stats. It's like an appearance thing that you can put on top.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, please, next time
Let's not
make it
spoil him.
more.
Let's say I'm seeing his face. He's being disappointed. Let's just shut up.
No, it's good. And I will say, in terms of also the whole return to the roots thing, someone who still has to sit down and play the game, I will say my impression is that in terms of return to the roots, it doesn't really mean what I hoped, but maybe more in terms of the structure of AC1. I feel like, in the sense that like you have these targets. Do what you need to do to get to them, kill them, and move on to the next.
Yeah.
Which was essentially what Assassin's Creed 1 was. Like the whole, as we all know it from open world gaming in general, like the sequence thing, that wasn't until the Ezio trilogy that was introduced.
Exactly.
I would say that yes, it was like AC1 kind of, but what I did like about it was that every contract that you killed, it was in Baghdad. So after you killed them, you just had to go back to like a district. You didn't have to go back to like a country, which made it less repetitive. For me,
You went between so many places in AC1, from Masyaf to Acre to Jerusalem to
Jerusalem, yeah,
all
and
those
then
places.
yeah, like whereas AC2 was like, hey, we're not gonna give you all of that thing. We're just gonna give you a traumatized kid's revenge story
Yeah.
thing, and you can kill as many people as possible, and you don't even have to go and check with your master.
Speaking of AC2, I actually started. I certainly felt like that. Started replaying it here last week, and it's fun to like. It's my 4th time playing it in full, but it's always such an experience. Like seeing where, in many ways, the franchise started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
Gargudon.
what I had kind of forgotten was just how dark a tone it really starts out on. Like for a split moment, we're living the good life here in Firenze. Yeah, until you have my family's executed the next morning.
Mm-hmm. The darkness of conspiracy theories in the OGACs was so present and really well embedded in the lore that
It was indeed.
that has been completely lost nowadays. Hell, they dared to introduce COVID in Valhalla, but that's it, you know? And it's fine.
In a letter.
It's fine. Yeah, in a letter. And it makes me wonder if the time jump in the future that they have been kind of promoting or low key referencing and stuff is due to their non-political like way
Sure.
of, maybe not non-political, but maybe the desire to not become political with actual history now, because Ukraine and stuff. If they introduce that in the games, that's going to be maybe weird for some people, but it has been done in previous iterations of the franchise, because all the exact history that happened in the world, conspiracies or not, have been introduced in some kind of way. Subject 16 did it. By that same extent, they will have to introduce some stuff that may be controversial.
All I'm gonna say is this: I love when they have the balls to do it.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't care about the implications. It's a video game, people.
Yeah.
It's not like if it says something about Ukraine and Russia, it's not personal. It's not like
It's
an
historical.
agenda or something. It's a
historical.
storytelling thing, like
Yeah.
Gandhi holding an apple of Eden, or thing Napoleon holding an apple of Eden. It's alternate history. Don't take it to heart.
Yeah. It's
And
fiction.
Ubisoft should not be afraid of that.
No, but
Anyway,
they are, and
that's
that's a big problem, and that's why that's one of the many reasons that Assassin's Creed has kind of lost his identity over time, because they want to be so friendly.
I'm gonna go to Yves Guillemot and be like, "Hey, dude, like, what's with this like 2100 year mark, man? Stay
That
in
makes me
modern day."
that makes me curious. Actually, how did Mirage do in terms of historical characters, like real life characters?
Apparently, from what I know and from people that I've talked with in the wiki, members like Lacrosse Demon, I don't know if you know him, but he's kind of famous in the wiki. Apparently, according to him, a lot of characters are like watered down, or directly they just didn't do them justice at all, or it was not accurate at all. For example, there's a character in the game which leads a rebellion that you help him, and
I didn't even comment.
apparently he's like at all depicted like he should be, or something like that, along those lines.
To be fair, like I have nothing against completely rewriting a character. I mean, that's what the games have pretty much always done. But just having the historical characters in there is a big first. From what I remember, the only game that didn't really do it for its villains was Syndicate, and that was solely, from what I know, because like that was so modern, and they would have had descendants today and stuff, and there was a bunch of Fury stuff, and that would not have gone over and stuff. So for that reason, intentionally, all villains from that game were more or less fictional.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the previous games, you're like, why is this person even in the history books and stuff?
True.
Where everyone from all your acquaintances to all the villains to this little merchant have supposedly existed in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sidebar conversation, but like this is gonna take a minute.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was watching this YouTube video about George H.W. Bush, so the father of George W. Bush.
Oh yeah.
And apparently that family claims to be descended down from King Henry VIII, and I'm like, what?
So they are practically English royalty.
I'm like, what? Seriously? Ubisoft, make a freaking game about Henry VIII and include the woman.
That could actually be fun, though. Now that you say it, now I mean,
wasn't there a reference actually of Henry VIII in one of the databases of potential historical eras in Black Flag? Now that you mention it,
honestly, that would be a good game, but that's not a topic for this day to discuss. That's like potential.
It's just going to be. It's just going to be a bunch of women having their heads chopped off.
Yeah, their heads chopped off. Yeah.
But that could actually be fun, though. I mean, we have seen London twice, isn't it? Both in the 9th century and in the 19th.
Yes.
So how about kind of in between, like when London really slowly becomes the big city we know it there during the Tudor dynasty.
Oof. Yeah, but
That will be the third revisiting of
Like
London.
Shakespearean London, maybe even
Well,
Shakespearean London or something.
mm, I
That's like
I
50
would
years
have
from
a.
there or something.
I think if the Assassin's Creed Gold audio drama was to be a game, it would be better actually because the setting with Isaac Newton and stuff that has potential because they can even tie it up with the witch trials and stuff, because
Oh,
it's
that's
the same
interesting.
era. I think no, it's 1680 something. I mean, maybe not exactly the same decades, or I don't even know if they still burned witches at that time. But you know,
Probably did.
it could be. It could be because you would have Isaac Newton. You would have an appearance of Omar Khalid, the protagonist of of the audio drama, which is an interesting thing. It could be a very cool gameplay feature. The guy, the assassin, is blind, and he guides himself through his
Oh,
eagle vision. Like he's blind,
oh,
he's blind,
that's
but
cool.
he navigates through his environment with the eagle sense, if you want to say the sixth sense that the Isu actually have. So that would be a nice gameplay feature, for
Would indeed.
some psychological horror elements or something for Hexe, and stuff. That would be cool.
You're definitely right though with where this started. That speaking of AC2, like the truth side mission, both in 2 and Brotherhood, I love that so much. It's so taunting and so creepy, but still really entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing this version of history that nothing was accidental. It was
No.
all just everyone was a pawn, and it was all like the whole of World War II like was orchestrated.
Yeah.
Seeing all those classified, uncovered letters from everyone from Adolf Hitler to Margaret Thatcher to Roosevelt and such.
Yeah, I think if Assassin's Creed strays away from um, that modern day arc, it can lose a lot of fans. Because then they're not being their actual self, and um, they're they're kind of like backtracking just because they don't want to hurt the feelings of people who are so sensitive in these matters.
I don't want to sound like an old man, but honestly,
What's up, old man?
if nowadays you really think that Assassin's Creed should lose the present day, and I'm talking in general, like these people you're mentioning, I just simply think they do not get what AC is about at all. It's not your historical simulator RPG fantasy thing. That's not Assassin's Creed. It never was. So people that want modern day to be removed is just, I don't know, asking that Call of Duty fans ask for Activision to remove weapons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It,
suppose so.
it's
I'm good with knives.
yeah, well, okay, there's
Yeah,
gonna be a tryhard with knives, okay, but the thing is,
I'm just kidding.
no, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, so you're telling me that in 2007, when Desmond showed up with Vidic and he was in a machine, and then you were transported to Aker or Masyaf or whatever, if that guy in the machine never happened, ironically, you wouldn't be able to go into the past. So what are you talking about? You're removing the main, the main medium for you to visit that historical era. So don't remove modern day. No, on the
Yeah,
contrary, ask for Ubisoft to expand on it. But
makes
give us
me
more, Yubi.
sorry.
makes me think. I also, besides AC2 here, I also decided to start a replay of our precious Black Flag, of course, and it just it's just funny, with the modern day in that game is that it was a totally new sort of thing, but looking back, would just from a narrative perspective, would you have preferred to have stuck with that, kind of like a Desmond epilogue of sorts?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Definitely. I mean,
Which
it's what's
building
way
missing.
was it? Remember?
the way you uncover post-mortem files and Desmond and Sean totally blending in, having a job as the coffee guy in the lobby. Not that him and Rebecca's faces would be in multiple Abstergo databases.
Yeah,
like
that I always
wanted.
wondered about that. Actually, it kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of explored that in AC Nexus too. Of you being the test subject and going through this.
I haven't
But
finished
yeah,
it.
that's like a VR game.
Oh,
That's like
I probably couldn't. I mean, the one time I tried like an Oculus Rift, I was losing my. I was having a real life bleeding effect for a minute.
Oh, there
Yes,
we go.
yes.
Yeah.
I was so dizzy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
It
a
does give you a
fan.
bleeding effect.
I'm a fan of VR games, mind you. I totally smashed Resident Evil 4 VR multiple times, no problem. But with this game, Nexus, I actually had a bad time playing it. Like, it was bad. My head really hurt. But that's because the movement in this game it has no cap. Like, there's no capping. It's as much as you can move, as fast as you can move, your character moves. There's no limit. So if you go like this, you can't, but you're gonna get sick straight away. It's kind of hard,
No,
but I want
sure.
to finish it though because it has modern day, and I'm here complaining about modern day, and I'm not finishing it. But
Sure.
Yeah, hypocrite.
that's the thing.
Sure. Is there any just to kind of get back to where we started? Is there any before we move on, maybe any Mirage things you think we've missed?
The game is supposed to be like in the events of like Ali ibn Muhammad, but before he got like way too radicalized. It was just like the beginning of like anarchy at Samara, Zahn's rebellion. Those things have not happened yet, but they are happening. For Ali ibn Muhammad to be introduced to us and to kind of hinder our minds on what does freedom truly mean,
Hmm.
that was a cool concept. I love uh the fight between freedom and what does it mean to have freedom as an assassin, and what does it mean to have a freedom as a singular man. Bassam doesn't like really involve himself with the assassins and stuff like that. That's because like he is well screwed in the mind uh somehow, and like they're trying to prep you up for like him being Loki, and Loki doesn't give a crap about the assassins thing. He's just using them to get to his ultimate motive. But I do like that Bassam does want to be part of the assassins. What I didn't like too was we didn't get a lot of the assassins uh storyline in Alamut, but economically speaking, that's because Ubisoft Bordeaux was like they had parameters set to them, and what they did with those parameters was they produced a great game that had some like shortcomings, but hey, it's a sweet game.
Of course. I suppose that
Yep.
naturally takes us into the next big thing, Red, that's beginning to circulate. To be completely honest, we don't know much about this thing yet, and that kind of that a lot of it is just speculation at this point. But I will say that it confirms what fans have been wanting for as long as the thing's been around. Feudal Japan, which personally I was never too hung up on, but I can see why it would make for a cool setting. There's definitely story-wise potential for like I suppose kind of like the codex of the assassins me mixed with the codex of the samurais, kind of clashing like pirates and assassins or something.
Well, technically, lore-wise, it already happened per se. Like the ninjas, Hattori Hanzo. He was one. He was a reputed ninja in that time, if I remember correctly. And when the Portuguese Templars went to Japan to expand Christianity and bring the Templar ideology with them to Japan, the assassins moved with them like discreetly, undercover and stuff, and they start recruiting people and warriors and stuff. And one of them, Hattori Hanzo, was a ninja, and he overhauled the whole assassin brotherhood in Japan so that they can match with the combat techniques they had. Shinobi, ninja arts and samurai arts. So we can say that technically they have already absorbed the ninja and the samurai codexes. If you catch my drift, and we're talking about and we're talking about 1560 something, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not no. Yes, something along those lines. So we can already have a game that has explored all these things, and they can give us something really neat to play with, rich in lore, if they respect it, that is. Because we're not sure the time, the year in which the game is going to take place. We have vague rumors and stuff. And according to one of the leaks that I saw a couple of weeks ago, which actually caught my eye, and I think it's fake just because of this single line, they mentioned hidden ones instead of assassins, which is technically impossible.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It would be assassins.
Yeah, the assassins would have been officially known as that for.
In the 1500s, we are assassins. We're not hidden ones anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's Ezio's timeline. Ooh,
Yeah.
Ezio comes to Japan. Woohoo!
So just a little detail, but it went boom, and everyone's writing about it. And I don't want to be the special boy here who sees something and he's the chosen one, but I'm a lore nerd, and I saw that. And personally,
Yeah,
that
immediately
to
gives
me
away.
would mean that either the guy that wrote these leaks doesn't have a clue about what he's writing about, or it's straight up made up, and he only played the recent games.
Absolutely.
On cloud. Yeah.
There is definitely a lot of it is true that it's not totally untouched territory like feudal Japan, but for a game itself, and that's what I've been saying in my head. We don't know much about the whole codename thing, but it kind of sounds like a half game, if that makes sense, almost along the lines of like the Chronicles.
Yes.
The Chronicles series.
Yes.
Not in the sense that it's like 2.5D, but it's kind of like it's not a full game, if that makes sense. But that could also just be a code name for something that's going to get announced later on, and it might be a full blown thing. But I definitely think there's potential for a gorgeous map, like cherry trees and Mount Fuji and whatnot.
Mount Fuji is important, actually. It needs to appear because it was in the glyphs and stuff. So
what I don't want it to be is another Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm pretty sure I think Ubisoft are well aware that people don't want another Ghost of Tsushima, and they have like a trick up their sleeve. Like
they better have.
I hope they have that. From the rumors that have circulated, it seems that they are aiming for a different perspective on like Japanese culture and like storytelling too. I was actually like asking my community, what do you guys want Assassin's Creed Codename Red to be actually named? And the two prominent answers were like Assassin's Creed Shinobi and Assassin's Creed Rising Sun.
Rising Sun is cool.
I was just about to say that. Like sunrise.
Yeah, and I think if they call it like Rising Sun, that would be like the first time Assassin's Creed goes into a 2-word title.
Black Flag?
No.
Oh yeah, actually,
Freedom
Black
Cry.
Flag is kind of
Freedom Cry.
Freedom Cry is also yeah. Okay, the third time.
That's 3.
But I get what you mean.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Usually, like that one word thing is so strong, but like Rising Sun is
But it's a bit
also strong.
overused, no? Oh, Rising Sun is kind of very cliche, isn't it? When we refer to Japan, maybe something I don't know. Empire as well.
Yeah.
Remember the old Empire craze? Assassin's Creed Empire.
Listen,
Yeah.
for the Empire, I really want a Roman Empire game. Okay, like
Yeah.
save that to
Yeah.
like then.
I said that
I'm
before.
good.
That could technically be like a direct sequel to Origins.
Yes,
Like
with
it literally
Caesarion.
ends where that begins. We get to see the armor of Brutus from Brotherhood in full action, and we get to see a different. I mean, at points it wouldn't look much different, Rome, but still there would be like the Colosseum wouldn't be constructed yet, and like there would still be a lot of things that haven't been constructed yet. But most of the city infrastructure that will be completely the same.
Or Dynasty.
K-
Dynasty would be good too.
Yeah.
Can I tell
I
you
just think-
something, guys? Look,
Yeah.
So,
I've been while you two were talking, I've been revisiting my Instagram account, and I had these highlighted stories with news that date back to
Yeah.
all the way to April 13, 2021. Listen to what those rumors said and compare them to what we have today. So, female lead, ancient Japan, city of Edo. I don't know what that is. I don't remember. Assassins and Templars, notoriety, you know, the notoriety system, with the posters and stuff.
Yeah.
Clothing to avoid detection, liberation style system. So, to hide and in different tenures, you know, maybe a slave, a merchant, whatever. Loki's son, Jormungandr, would reappear under the Japanese being Ryujin.
What?
I don't know where that is.
Okay.
I have to check it
that's
out.
a lot of bollocks. What?
I will say overall there is a lot of potential for like a Japan themed game. I'm
And-
thinking in terms of
Dungeons and
Oh, yes, bro.
Vaults AC2 style. That's what I had here. That's what I had
That
here,
seems
and we're
cool.
talking about April 13, 2021. And the
Well,
name, the name was Assassin's Creed Warriors. What the hell?
I mean, as cool as it all sounds, that feels like a long time ago, and yeah,
But the female lead is true, so maybe, who knows?
we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I just think overall, like, there's a lot of potential for just a Japan themed game in terms of, I mean, it could take free running to a whole new level we've never seen. I mean, scale a
ziplights
building in
and
2
stuff as well.
seconds, and but once like you know unnecessary flips and stuff might actually be introduced. Because assassins, yeah, they're free runners, but they're not parkour show-offs. But
Yes.
if they're ninjas too, absolutely they will be. They will jump off a building and do 5 flips. And also for weaponry, like there's the ninja stars, and there's so many cool. I can imagine so many cool stealth weapons.
Foot blades.
I think
like
you mentioned that
Shaojin.
last time. Yeah, Xiao Yun, the famous rope dart.
Mhm.
I think you mentioned that last time.
The rumors that you said, like, I really hope it's a female lead. There was a guy that posted a female picture.
A dev, I think,
oh.
actually.
Yeah, a dev that posted a female picture, and I'm like, dude, like, stop with the freaking leaks. And I mean, employees that work at the game studio should know that you don't post that kind of.
Honestly,
Honestly,
I think we always are tricked into thinking it's leaks, but it's just full-on marketing to see the feedback of the people.
Probably,
Yeah.
man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nah, I think overall, Red is going to be. It's going to be. There's some different potential. You think it's probable the release this year?
No, unfortunately, I don't think so.
Hmm.
We were led to believe so, but according to the recent investors calls or whatever the hell it's called, I think it's safe to assume that it's going to be for 2025, unfortunately, which lead us to think what the hell is going to happen this year. Maybe
I
Jade,
think
but I don't know.
before April 2025.
I don't like that. Before April 960.
honestly, I just want the game to come um without any bugs. Of course, there will be bugs to fix, but like I don't want a Unity situation because this is a next gen game.
Engine.
Um,
Yeah. Make sure it's
and
polished, this new engine.
yeah,
Don't
I just
rush it.
want I don't want them to rush it. We can wait. We can make content about it. 2025 is a very, very um thing turbulent year to release a game in because once GTA 6 comes out, nobody's playing any other game. Um,
I just
Yeah,
really like
and I'm just
absolutely.
saying
GTA,
that.
so I'm not one of those.
Yeah, I know, but the mass public does, and
Yeah, I know.
thing like you don't release your games around GTA, and I'm
Just
pretty sure
anything
Ubisoft knows
Rockstar
that.
put out in general.
If we really have two playable characters as it is supposedly leaked, uh,
In Red?
yeah, in Red, mm, I would really like this time to have a clear difference in gameplay and mechanics with these two, because if we play a samurai, we have to take in mind that we will be playing with more defense stances and combat focused stances, so you're more heavy, you have other tactics, you have other strategies, sorry, and gadgets. you can't be
Kind of like
you can't be climbing up walls with an armor like in Valhalla,
Yeah,
it's
you
funny you
know
say it.
aggressive. You mean?
but if you want, you can take the approach of being a combat pro but with light armor and not that well
Yeah.
equipped, but you are compromising your defense and your health for
It's
mobility,
funny.
you
It's
know
funny you say that because I always did wonder, like, just how can Ezio like freely? Just how can any assassin like fully do all these moves perfectly and with that much weight on them? If it's armor, if it's weapons
you go to
or
the gym
something.
all day, that's all, that's why.
That's always something I also thought. What is
What
an
you don't
assassin's work?
see,
What
what
is
you don't
their
see.
workout routine like? Like they must have upper body strength like no one else. Like Evie Fry's skinny arms can, like, without any foot support, just pull herself up. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you don't see in the montage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
So kind of like also like Jacob and Evie back then. Like both of them had different skills. One was
nah,
stealth,
but that was
stealth
very.
advantages.
It was.
Still very similar.
They were
Yeah,
similar. The only thing that changed is just simple stat buffs when you had those skills on. For example, with
Yeah.
Jacob, you had just some stat buffs with the blighters and with the sorry, with the rooks and with the and with the fist fights and stuff. You have more buffs, in close quarter combats. And with Eevee, the invisibility stuff, with the Minerva's armor, the Aegis outfit and stuff. Okay, that's it. But we don't want that. I mean, no, we want something very tangible. As I said, with this dude, with this African samurai being heavy as a brick but smashing skulls, and the ninja, as light as a leaf, and she can't take a lot of damage, so she has to cover, she has to sneak past, all that. That has to be evident. Otherwise, why would I bother playing with two different characters if I can do the same with just one? It would
yeah.
it would
Makes
aggressively
sense.
limit your gameplay choices and experience. Imagine
If I
that.
may add,
Sorry.
if I may add,
Yes.
um, last time we played as two characters was um Syndicate, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it was inward in us to play as Jacob if we wanted to be aggressive, and to play as Evie if we wanted to be sneaky and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got that through the emotions that they're setting off.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't get it through, hey, like Jacob is a brute. Evie is a sneaky girl, basically. But at this time, like with Red, they should come out like in their marketing and say, hey, if you want to play like that brute, don't hold back character, play as the African dude that's like rumored to be in there. And then if you want to play that sneaky figure and stuff like that, play as the girl. And have like distinct differences between them.
If Assassin's Creed Liberation managed to have that by simply changing outfits, imagine if it's just two complete different characters with their respective mechanics and gameplay features.
Yeah. Say what you will about that, but I imagine for a female character, that could be like a geisha disguise or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There'll be a
assassination sequences dressed as a geisha, for example.
Yeah, I think overall, Red, there's a lot of interesting potential. I like the idea, but we'll have to see what it really is. If this whole Codename trilogy or what it will be will, in reality, be a new version of like the Chronicles things, like not necessarily 2.5D, but kind of like,
yeah,
just campaign-driven games is another way to say it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, I'm kind of afraid of that because if they really go for this new trilogy-inspired in Chronicles, but with these games, the fact that they are dividing it in, for example, one on mobile and two on consoles, what's going to be in the future? One on mobile, one on an Apple Watch, and another one in a microwave, or what? It's like
Yeah,
I understand where they go with marketing and mobile platforms, but dude, is really Assassin's Creed made and meant to be played on mobile? No, it is not.
not
Let
really.
me tell you, it is.
I mean, the Chronicles games themselves, I mean, I quite enjoy those.
I love them. Don't get
some
me wrong.
some more than others. Maybe I could replay China actually, but
China
I
and
think
India are amazing.
I actually wasn't. India didn't stick with me as much, to be honest.
I
But
like
I
the
quite like
music
Russia.
and color palette most likely. I really like the
I
tone
really,
and the colors.
I really like Russia and that whole idea of like, Xiao Yun's spirit in the box, the famous box, and kind of like possessing what was her name, Anastasia or something.
Yeah.
And then suddenly she is basically Xiao, having all her skills.
It's the first time we see that actually as well. And the story of the box has been forgotten.
Which was never figured out. Is it even the same box?
That's
I think it first
thing.
appeared in Embers, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then it comes back in Chronicles China.
Yes.
And then next time we see it's in Rogue, like 250 years later.
And then we see it again in Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, China, and Russia. So it continues there. And if I remember correctly, I think we see it. Oh yeah, no, that's actually in Chronicles when you unlock a series of codes through the games that are hidden in the walls. You have to activate Eden Vision, Eagle Vision to see them. If you write them down as their games released, and you had it on a notebook or whatever, and when you finished Russia, you went to this screen in the menu to put all those codes you've been piling up all these years when the game's released. You would get a special cutscene of Otzoberg, of Juhani, being handed over the box by Letitia to give it to Alvaro Grammatica so that he can work on it for Project Phoenix and stuff.
I didn't know that. Yeah, very secret Easter egg for those who know how to look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Other than that, I think we've come full circle.
Yes, I think so. We touched everything. We talked about everything. I mean, we haven't talked about Hex that much, but I mean, it's not that there's a lot to talk about.
We'll see that when we know more about it. What is it? I think the only thing we really know is it's like 17th century Germany or something.
Yes.
Back when you'd be burned alive for just being a woman, basically. Being a woman, figuring out 2 + 2.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something that we will be able to talk about because we already have a comic book taking place around those times, but not in Germany, in America, in Salem. So we could
Salem,
we
Massachusetts.
we
Yeah,
we
I've
we can
heard
talk.
about that place,
Hmm. We can talk
and
about
it
those
was
things.
apparently very big for all of that. That's the thing I think I've said before is that when you also think about it, we've never had a game actually set in the 17th century at the 1600s, which perhaps feels odd considering that most games do take place in the latter half of the millennium.
That's true. That's true.
And
That's true.
there are some you mentioned there is definitely it's ripe with potential for basically all the great naval nations of Europe, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, England, all that. Um, yeah, and there's also been a lot of references to it. Right now in my replay of Black Flag, I'm gonna try to find all of the like the bottled messages, if you remember those.
Yeah, the war letters, I think.
Or it's
Oh no,
basically
no, no,
like
those
the
are in Rogue. Sorry, those are in Rogue.
yeah, it's basically the memoir of a sage who lived 40 years prior
Yeah, Tom
and
Cavanagh or
mentions
something.
Boston and yeah, Peter Beckford and a young Laureano Torres and all that stuff.
Wait, Laureano Torres was a sage?
Oh, he wasn't, but he encountered
Oh,
Laureano
okay, okay, okay,
when he was a bit younger.
okay, okay.
Yeah, and the man who I forget his name. Yeah, Paul
Yeah,
Kavanagh or
I
yeah,
mean,
he was a sage.
that's the thing with it with AC. Like all of these stuff, all of these huge and rich potential stuff for games. Put in the bottle as a collectible, and when you read it, you figure out that there's a whole story beneath those collectibles. You can make games out of them. I always love that, man. It's just so fascinating
Yeah,
how deep this universe is, and I mean, come on,
that's it.
one of those things even let us know that there has been a sage in the year 30 that encountered Jesus Christ. So you can make a lot of stuff with all these things, Assassin's Creed games
Absolutely.
in those eras. But I guess it's just a matter of mainstream fan service and whatnot. I don't know. It's sad because sometimes I believe that Assassin's Creed has become kind of like Marvel in terms of settings and stuff. Like, very
Hmm.
niche settings. Okay, we go to Japan. Okay, we go to Egypt. Okay, we go to. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I love Egypt. I love Japan. I love Vikings. Who doesn't like Vikings? But there are other segments in history that could have good potential. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just being an old man, as I said. But
You could say that, yeah, in the past, it was. We went to all these cool locations, but at the front of it was still the modern day and the whole, Desmond narrative. And
mm-hmm.
then even the epilogue kind of related to that in the sense, yeah, oh, yeah, why do we have Edward's data available? Oh, we took it from Desmond, and we're going to have this unidentified Abstergo employee analyze it.
Yeah,
And it went on for and it worked, and I love those games, but it was with Unity and such. Maybe yeah, it became a little bit randomized, kind of like throw a bunch of historical time periods in a bowl. This one we'll use. As much as I love Rogue, to some point, I think it has the best AC story.
yes, I am in love with that game, dude. Like, I don't know how
Well,
people can just. It's so underrated. Rogue is very underrated. It just
it
it
it's
it,
short, but
it
it achieves very much with its like 20 or so story missions. Really brilliantly portraying the assassins as the bad guy, really
mm-hmm.
showing their hypocrisy. And for most of the game, I like to say that Shay and the Templars, like Shay doesn't really believe in the Templar course, the
No,
extremes of that, but they have aligning interests. Like he just
yes,
knows, the assassins are terrible.
mm-hmm.
And if it comes to killing all my previous friends, absolutely, I'll do it. I so vividly remember towards the start of the game, he says like, "Why did I have to kill that man? Like he was defenseless, he was old. I didn't have to kill him, but Liam just go, he had to die for the sake of freedom. Blah blah blah."
Yeah,
Um, um, But yeah, there's actually probably for one of the next episodes I wanted to do this. We're going to get real philosophical. We're going to do a deep dive into both creeds, who's right, who's wrong,
I'll replay it for this. I'll make notes for this. I'll replay it.
where there's like there's heroes on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and such. And that comes to think, that's the last character maybe I wanted to talk about. He's also in that game. No, Adewale is a curious case. Also, just replaying Black Flag now.
That's so sad, dude. Adewale, I felt really bad when I had to kill him. Like, because you know his backstory, you know everything, and it felt very out of place for you. It felt very out of place from Ubisoft to remove Adewale. I don't really. Killing Adewale felt like killing just one of the bunch of assassins you had to kill just because, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I think Ade's character overall is, to be honest,
Bland?
there's some ways I don't really like him, and in some ways, I mean, he still earns respect. I mean, it's very clear that, as Black Flag story progresses, that him and Edward just don't get along. Edward is way too edgy, and even when Edward has kind of embraced the Brotherhood, to some extent at least, it's still very clear that Ade is way more zealous and devout than Edward will ever be.
Yes. Because
Edward is basically just like, I believe, yes, in keeping the peace and removing these men from the surface because they'll cause harm to everyone, but that's about it. And I like your weaponry, but that's about it.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Edward is me, basically, and I've always said that if some enemy's time travel thing or something happened, first civilization tech allowed it, Edward and Jacob Fry would make a dangerous team. The two of them.
Yes, totally. And
the way they're both
Connor,
just so edgy.
Because that
let's
be honest, he's a brute. He can be
he's a brute.
He can be all philosophical and all edgy like the boy in the back, in the back of the classroom, but he's
a brute in terms of his combat skills, but I never really got the same philosophical vibe off of Connor.
No.
That Edward and Jacob yeah, it's very fine. Shut up already. Let's go kill some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where Ade, he is always a bit more devout to the assassins.
Yeah, because
as he discovers
I guess
as he grows tired of Edward and as he discovers the Brotherhood on their travels.
I guess you could say he's really that devout because he kind of exchanged his former life as a slave to this life as a devout follower of the creed to avoid more people being enslaved. I guess you could say that that's the motive. But isn't it ironic that it's also some kind of slavery because you're devout? It's not really freedom. It's kind of you're a slave to your own devotion of like helping others. You kind of become a slave to yourself because Ade has just known the life of the creed at the end. When you kill him, you see he's old, he's technically alone, you know that he had a son, Babatunde, who had another son, Eseosa, that helped in the Haitian revolution and stuff, but where's all that? You just see him dying old and alone. Where are they?
I mean, the thing with Ade is that, like I said, as Black Flag progresses, it becomes very clear that him and Edward have very different personal codes. But to some degree, they still respect each other, and for what it is, Ade does know that without Edward, he wouldn't be anywhere, as much as he kind of wants to maybe disassociate himself from him, but, he still goes to find the wreckage of the Jackdaw, and when you kill him, there's, hidden dialogue that, I knew your father, Hatham, if only he could see what you had become. Other than that, just thanks for listening to this new episode of Rally the Creed. There will be more coming sooner than later. We are working on some interesting ideas. And, links to follow everyone, including site, down below. And yeah.
Same thing as well. You can have all my links in the description. You can find me at UbiCypher on Twitter and Isu Network.
Yeah. Make sure to check out my new AC Mirage inspired instrumental East Again with visualizer footage captured by this man. Yeah, it'll be here on our channel. So yeah, go check that out. Other than that, peace out, assassins.
Thanks, everyone.